oftentimes companies will look at their labor pool and they'll say, okay, well, this person's really skilled and strong at this, but they got all these deficiencies over here. We got to fix these deficiencies. Like Chris keeps microwaving fish in the office, microwave, or, we got to fix, he's very, very bad at his expense reports or whatever. And the way that Red Bull looks at it is it's way harder to fix those deficiencies that are just ingrained in people than it is to take where they're strong and just pour gas on it. Mm-hmm. And I think that one of my managers at Red Bull was just really remarkable at tolerating where I was stupid and really reinforcing where I could be apply a lot of leverage. Mm-hmm. And I think that that comes down to just being humble and being understanding of the people you're working with. And I've managed 1 million people, and I've often had those situations where I'm like, oh, if this person would only stop doing this, it would be great. But I think that strengths first mentality is actually what helps really grow a great team. And so I've had a couple of great managers in that space, and I think that contributed a lot to my career. And I actually had, over my time at CrossFit, working on the media side, I worked with some very dysfunctional people. However, this was pre-Red Bull, and so I didn't have that strengths first mentality, and all I focused on was like, this guy is just all over the place, but he was really remarkable at one specific thing. And so I think that my main takeaway from leadership is just stop trying to fix deficiencies in your people and try to really lean into where they're strong, assuming they're not like breaking the law or doing something stupid. But that's served me a lot in my time, and I think I'll probably carry that forward for a lot. I do that with my kids. Like I'm hey Axel, you're really good at like breaking stuff. Like let's go break stuff and like
things.
Yeah, exactly. Let's go break the right stuff in the garage.
No, I think that's a great takeaway. I mean, and in a bigger sense, it kind of leans into the whole idea of, when building a team or building a business is you try to find people that have strengths in where your weaknesses are. Yep. Being aware of your weaknesses or the deficiencies or things like that, I think is important. Mm-hmm. But letting people do what they're really good at. Yep. And I think another piece is doing the thing that they enjoy doing.
Yeah, 100%.
I think that was a lesson that I learned early on, was when you can find something that you can be passionate about working on. Yep. That's when I see it transform your work into what they talk about of, if you love what you do, you don't go to work anymore. It's fun. It's but truly, when you can align someone's role or responsibilities to what they actually love doing, they work way harder. They study that thing. They become the best at that thing. Yep. I think that really fits with the same type of feedback you give.
The other thing I would say about managers too, I completely forgot about David Edwards, but David Edwards was the editor-in-chief of Cycle World magazine, which was kind of my second job. We moved to Southern California, Orange County, and I went to work as kind of the producer for the website, like early website production days. David Edwards was a jerk. Like he was really, really mean. Everyone was afraid of him. But the thing that, I loved about David was he was so meticulous about his craft that I did not get mad at him when he'd call me at 2 a.m. and he'd say, hey, Honda just like teased this new motorcycle in Japan. Like, I need you to get this on the website right now. I knew it was because he was coming from a place of like, he's extremely enthusiastic about the stories he tells and the magazine he's building. And he was brutal on me a lot. And it probably didn't help that on the first day of work there, I wrecked his motorcycle. I totaled it, which is a funny story in and of itself. But he pushed me really hard. And I'm sure my wife probably felt like I was probably crying in the bathroom a couple days a week. But despite the fact that he was really rough around the edges, his commitment to his craft made me respect him and stick with him. Yeah. So I think that even if you are a nightmare, but you're world class, and not many people are that, but by definition, but like that's another, admirable characteristic. And I would guess I would wrap that on saying, if you're a young person who's coming up in their career and you're working for somebody who seems intolerable, but there's a slight chance that they're really remarkable, probably should tolerate it and just learn something from it, because eventually you'll find better bosses and do other things, and maybe you get to, complain about it on a podcast later in life, right? But stick with it if they're remarkable.
If anything, it'll build a good story for the future. Right. No, I feel like that is the trait of many of the greats. you hear the same thing about testimonials of people that work directly with Steve Jobs or with Elon Musk or with, it's like, yes, maybe there's areas they were rough or the areas that people didn't enjoy about them, but what did they create? What did they do? And you can't build something extraordinary with a average or ordinary level of work and making everybody happy and being comfortable. And, you know, there's a certain drive that people that do incredible things have. And, you know, that becomes a personal choice, right? In those scenarios of like, do I like the pros versus the cons of this scenario? Do I want to keep working on this thing? Or, it's interesting to learn from those types of people, though.
Yeah, I have a friend who actually worked for Tesla for quite a while. Not a long time, but he was not head of HR, but he was very high up in the HR department. And he came in for his interview, and he's sitting in this tiny little room. And the lady that brought him in is like, okay, I'm going to go get Elon. And Elon wanders in, and he sits down, and Elon grabs this guy's resume off the table. And he like, I think he must have read it word for word because he was like reading for like 15 minutes. And
just sitting there quietly.
Yeah, he's just sitting there reading. And he looks at him, and he like puts the resume down. And he asks him one question, and then he gets a phone call, and Elon's like doing the thing on his phone, and Elon just literally just leaves the room. And this guy never heard from Elon again. And apparently, you know, Elon only needed to ask one question to decide whether or not this guy was the right fit for the company. And he was running a very big department in HR. And I mean, his eccentricities are a superpower in some regard, and he's not going to get people to Mars by focusing on how to be a better people person. So you got to give him a little grace for that.
Yeah, it's wild. It is wild.